Good morning and welcome to this Zoom worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Studio City. My name is Terry Hassman-Paulin and I serve as board co-secretary. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. It's my honor and privilege to serve as your worship associate today as we commemorate Memorial Day, the special holiday when we honor our fallen service members. Through readings, music, and videos, we will recognize the valor and sacrifices of those who have served our nation. We welcome you today if this is your first Zoom service, if you've been stopping by for a few months, or if you've been attending this church for years. We strive to be an inclusive congregation, welcoming all people of goodwill. Who are we, those of us who identify as Unitarian Universalists? We come from a variety of backgrounds, traditions, and religions. We respect and celebrate our differences and seek not to convert, but to share. We are not a melting pot, but rather a mosaic, and subscribe to no dogma. We encourage each person to find their own answers to the great religious questions of life in a community of open hearts and questioning minds. Thank you so much for deciding to join us here for worship in the sanctuary of your own home. Now, I have an important announcement to share. You are all invited to a kid-friendly barbecue and swim party at the home of Dorothy and Russ Balasuk. It will be held tomorrow from 1 to 5 p.m. We've all been cooped up too long, and it's time to party and mingle. Please bring something for you and your family to grill and something to share. A fresh garden salad, a fresh fruit salad, or a special beverage. Please bring your food on a tray or platter ready to serve. Bring folding chairs too, and a swimsuit if you're planning to swim, or just display yourself. Remember, everyone is welcome. Now, health conditions. If you've been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, you can unmask yourself and stand closer than 6 feet from other guests. We will all be outdoors, so the likelihood of transmitting the virus or catching it is very low. But if you're still feeling uncertain about mingling, then you can feel free to wear your mask and to social distance. For your own protection and that of others, folks who are not vaccinated should mask and social distance. Or you might want to call in and just say hi via Skype. Please call Dorothy or Russ at 818-437-1500 or 818-389-7890 for their address and directions. And Russ and Dorothy, if you could put those phone numbers in the chat box, that would be great. And now we will hear an improvisation of America the Beautiful. Our chalice lighters this morning will be Dorothy and Russ Balasok. And we will listen to the words of Cynthia Landrum. In honor of those who have served and those who continue to serve at home and abroad for peace and in war, we light our chalice and we offer our thanks. Thank you, Russ and Dorothy. Today I'll share with you a prayer written by the Reverend Barbara Peskin, especially for Memorial Day. Spirit of life, whom we have called by many names in thanksgiving and in anguish, bless the poets and those who mourn. Send peace for the soldiers who did not make the wars, but whose lives were consumed by them. Let strong branches grow above graves far from home. Breathe through the arms of their branches. The earth will swallow your tears while the dead sing no more, never again. Remember me, for the wounded ones, for those who received them back. Let there be someone ready when the memories come, when the scars pull and the buried metal moves. And forgiveness for those of us who were not there, for our ignorance, and in us, veterans in a forest of 1,000 fallen promises, let new leaves of protest grow on our stumps. Give us courage to answer the cry of humanity's pain with our bare hands, at a full heart, with all our intelligence. Let us create the peace. Amen. And now we will hear Morning Has Come, one of our favorite hymns.
Joy and sing a song of gladness.
And now let us recite our words of covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, thus do we covenant. And we will now sing together the words of our doxology. I'll now share a reading by Nicole McKay, We Gather to Remember. We gather to remember those who could not grow old, and those forced to grow old before their time. We gather to mourn and grieve with one another, all of our losses, the people, the stories, the loved ones, and the futures that could have been. We gather to do the hard work of facing the difficult realities of our present and our past, where there is conflict, violence, war, and hatred. We gather to hold space for silence, as we try to make meaning of our history to help us work for peace and justice today. We gather to rekindle our source of hope for our future by recognizing in one another our shared humanity as we join in a concerted commitment for a better tomorrow. We gather because we need community to do all of this holy work. And now, at the center of our service and the center of our hearts is our weekly sharing of our personal joys and sorrows. Please write your joy or sorrow in the chat box and precede what you write with either a J for joy or an S for sorrow, so that our reader will know that you wish to have this statement read aloud. Our reader today is Nicole Thibodeau.
When a sorrow is shared, it is lessened. And when a joy is shared, it is multiplied. In that spirit, Will Rapp has a sorrow. I had to resign from my teaching position at San Fernando High School because the school and I couldn't agree on a part-time contract arrangement for next year. I'm unhappy about leaving the program, but it has to happen. Grandpa Rapp. Nancy Holland has a sorrow to share. My close childhood friend Beth had a heart attack on Friday and has not regained consciousness. Please send prayers for her family. Aviva Heston has a joy. Daughter Roxanne comes to visit this week. Another joy from Pam. Ryan will graduate from Walter Reed Middle School and walk across the stage and get his diploma. Actually, one day of school Ryan has attended his entire year. Bonnie has a joy to have the UU2 band back making music in Nick's studio. Lovely improvs, gentlemen. Heather also has a joy. Joe and I are thrilled to have Faith home from college for the summer. She arrived at LAX yesterday. From John, a joy that Terry stepped up to lead us in worship today. We're so lucky to have you in our congregation, Terry. We end by honoring all the joys and sorrows kept in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May we all be warmed in the embrace of our community.
Now let us spend 1 minute together in silent meditation. I'll share with you the words of Heather K. Januels. We remember. Spirit of life and love, God of memory, mourning, and history, bring before us the truths of serving in war. Bring before us in compassion and in gratitude those who face violence so we may know peace. We remember these sacrifices through monuments. We remember these names carved into stone. Inscribe them on our hearts this day. Inscribe them on our conscience every day. So, like the stones that bear their names, freedom from violence may endure in our nation and all around the world. Now, I'd like to share some information with you that you might not be aware of. Many of us believe that the majority of deaths of the military occur during battle. This is not actually true. So on this day before Memorial Day, I'd like to share some statistics with you from a CNN article that Frank Dungan brought to my attention. Between 2006 and 2018, 31.9% of active duty military deaths were the result of accidents, according to a congressional report updated in 2018. By comparison, only 16.3% of service members who died during that time were killed in action. And a large majority of those accidents occurred in circumstances unrelated to combat deployments. Since 2006, a total of 16,652 active duty personnel and mobilized reservists have died while serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. 73% of these casualties occurred under circumstances unrelated to war. It is a trend that has only seemed to pick up momentum of late as non-combat deaths have exceeded the number of military members killed in action every year since 2015. In 2017, nearly 4 times as many service members died in training accidents as were killed in combat, according to House Armed Services Committee report related to the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019. So, please keep these statistics in mind as we commemorate the loss of life of service members on this Memorial Day. And now we'll pause to either sing or listen to a hymn, "Now We Sing of the Brave and Old."
Now sing we of the brave of old, who would not sell themselves for gold, yet left us riches manifold. Alleluia! Of those who fought a goodly fight for liberty, for truth and right, their patient love, their chiefest might. Alleluia! Who, when no gleam did point the way, pressed ever on by night, by day, and spite of pain did ever say, Alleluia! Who long the world's old sorrows bore, and toiled and loved and suffered sore, and being dead live evermore. Alleluia!
We look to you, our members and friends, to help support this beloved community. You know that you received a pledge card in the mail a while ago, which you should be mailing back to the office by snail mail. And right now, you can take the opportunity to pledge online and to write out your check. Remember, we need your pledge so that we can figure out what to do in the coming year and how much money we will have to spend. So please pledge. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. We will now listen to the music by the very talented Melanie Demore singing "Shine on Me."
Hello, you family. I'm going to sing a song with you called Shine on Me. It's an amazing spiritual that anybody can sing. And in these days when the things that we're dealing with, the feeling separate and all of that, and things seem so hard, this is one of those songs that you just throw your head back, put it in your medicine kit. All you have to do is ask. And here's how it goes. Shine on me, oh shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Lift me up, oh, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up, oh, lift me up. Yes, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up. Oh, hold me close. Yes, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse hold me close. Yes, hold me close. Oh, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse, please hold me close. Oh, shine on me, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Oh, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on all you have to do is just ask. The light is always there. Always. Always. Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that amazing? I love Melanie DeMore. And now, today we don't have a formal sermon. So in place of that sermon, we're going to watch a short video, Honor the Fallen.
Remember me. I am the fallen soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine. I am the one that held the line. Sometimes I volunteered, sometimes I went because I was told to go. As technology advanced, I used night vision goggles and global positioning systems and drones and lasers and thermal optics. But it was still me, a human being that did the work. It was me that patrolled up the mountains or across the desert or through the streets. It was me that suffered in the merciless heat and the bitter cold. It was me that went out, night after night, to confront our nation's enemies and confront evil face to face. It was me. Remember me. I was a warrior. But also remember that I was not only a warrior. I was not just a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. That I was a son, a brother, a father. I was a daughter, a sister, a mother. I was a person. Like you, a real person with hopes and dreams for the future. I, the soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, I stood my ground and sacrificed my life, my future, my hopes, my dreams. I sacrificed everything.
There was no cover
For you.
and no escape. The soldier wearing the
This
helmet
Memorial
camera
Day,
went down.
Remember me, the fallen warrior. And remember me not for my sake, but for yours. Remember what I sacrificed so you can truly appreciate the incredible treasures you have. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. You have the joys of life, the joys that I gave up, so that you can relish in them. Remember them always, and make every day Memorial Day. Memorial Day.
Many of us have family members and friends who have died in battle or in training exercises. Let us take this time now to remember these brave souls who gave their lives for this country. I encourage you now to unmute yourself at this time and say their names out loud, and then we'll have a moment of silence.
Well, what I would like to do is, as a native son of Philadelphia, I would like to honor and remember the Edison High School 64. If you're not familiar with that term, there was Emmanuel Arts High School in a very poor working class section in Philadelphia that was probably 70% Black, 30% Puerto Rican, and white. And they were definite targets for Marine recruiters and draft boards. And so unfortunately, Edison High School in North Philadelphia has the tragic distinction of losing more graduates than any other single high school in the country.
The West Point class of 1950 that went from graduation right into the Korean War.
Was your husband?
Yeah, I had a husband there.
You can feel free just to say a name if you wish.
I would like to remember a friend of mine. He and I have the distinction of being two of the few people who served in both the United States Peace Corps and in Vietnam. He and I served together. He was my TAC officer when I was in tech school. His name is John Morosini. And John was killed on the same day that I got married before going to Vietnam. And that has always haunted me and still does. I like to remember John Morosini.
I would like to ask that all those members of the armed forces who volunteered to protect this nation, who are not killed in war, but were killed by accident, also deserve our honor and our praise today, and that they not be marginalized just because they passed by accident while in service of their country.
I want to remember my friend Paul Neubauer.
I'd like to remember Sergeant James Dorsey, who was actually the only Black NCO in my company, other than a senior NCO, who was killed when a rocket-propelled grenade hit his chest protector. He was hovering, his aircraft was hovering in the landing zone just beneath my aircraft. And he was serving as the door gunner. And I watched that. And it's difficult to deal with it even today.
The Ritchie boys.
If there are no further names that you wish to speak out loud, then we will take 1 minute of silent meditation and remember them deeply within our hearts and minds.
Terry,
Yes,
may I add my uncle
yes.
who passed away, Shiro Togo, in action during World War II in France. Also another uncle who served in the 442. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will close now with our final hymn, Come and Go With Me.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
We'll end this service today with a benediction from Charles F. Flagg. In honor of those we have known and loved in the past, in recognition of the gifts and sacrifices they have made on our behalf, and in our sincere hopes that we may be worthy of their memory, we light our candles, we give our thanks, and we offer our prayers. Amen. And now we will extinguish the chalice.